Do you want to know the secret to fat loss after 40? The key to getting back into your skinny jeans is by eating just a little less than you burn each day. But even though a moderate calorie deficit will help you lose weight, you won't stay in those skinny jeans for long if you don't also include strength training and eat more protein as part of your fat loss plan. As someone who previously dreaded stepping foot in the weight side of the gym, when I work out these days, that is the only place you'll find me. That's because I've finally figured out that building muscle is the easiest way to not only drop 50 pounds, but I no longer struggle to keep it off. But figuring out the balance of eating the right amount of protein to fuel your workout without going over calories is tricky. So in this video, I'll show you the exact routine I follow on a strength training day that helps me hit 150 grams of protein without blowing my calorie goal. But you won't find success if you don't first learn how to calculate the right calorie deficit and protein goal that works for you. Just because I shed fat eating 2,000 calories a day with 150 grams of protein, that doesn't mean that plan will work for you. But don't get overwhelmed because calculating your macro targets is easy. All you have to do is plug your stats into a macro calculator like this one on the Mind Pump website. Then follow what they suggest as your moderate calorie deficit. Even though this calculator suggests starting with 40% of your total calories from protein, that's too difficult for most women who are just starting out. If you're not able to reach this number, an easier way to calculate your protein goal is to figure out what you want your final goal weight to be. Then aim for that number in grams of protein each day. If you don't get close to hitting your protein target those first few days, that doesn't mean it's time to give up and move on to the next quick fix. All you need to do is find new ways to add more protein every day. While you ramp up protein, remove some of the processed foods that aren't helping you stay under your calorie budget while you increase protein. When you practice adding more protein-heavy foods more often in place of empty calories, that's how you'll hit your goal without struggling. If this has your head swirling because you're not sure which food combos are high in protein but low enough in calories to help you stay in a moderate deficit, let me show you the exact meal plan I follow that helps me easily achieve both goals. Since I find it easiest to get my workout done at the time of day when I have the most focus and energy, I prioritize working out within 30 minutes of waking up. Now, just a few years ago, I believed that fasting through breakfast was the only way that I can control my weight, which meant I was attempting to lift heavy on an empty stomach. Even though I thought this was working for me since fasting always helped me eat less, all it did was stress me out and cause even more weight gain. That's the reason I have a nutrient-dense protein shake before my workout. While pre-made shakes you find on store shelves do contain some protein, they don't have the other nutrients that I add that provide the energy I need to make it through my 60 to 90 minute workout. Since I don't do well with traditional dairy, I use 3 ounces of coconut milk for a creamy base. Plus I add another 5 ounces of water. Then I mix in 4 ounces of unsweetened frozen strawberries for carbs, which help with energy during my workout. If you tolerate dairy well, milk may be a better base since it adds even more protein. Or you could just stick with water if you're looking to cut calories even more. Next, I pour in 0.3 ounces of MCT oil. Even though MCT oil is high in calories, I found that when I don't include a fat source in my shake, I get hungry about halfway through my workout. But adding 60 calories worth of fat staves off hunger until an hour or two after my workout is over. Next, I add in a scoop of Chocolate Equip protein powder, which I digest much better than any other protein powders that I've tried. With other brands, I always felt bloated during my workout. This one gives me energy, and I also love the flavor without having to add any additional sweeteners. Finally, I top my shake off with a scoop of Equip's pre-workout. This stuff gives me the energy I need in the morning to do things like this. But I will warn you, this does add a slightly bitter taste to your shake. Since the pre-workout contains caffeine and it definitely boosts my energy, it's actually a taste I started craving only a few shakes in. If you don't want to add pre-workout to your shake, then I definitely recommend getting caffeine in some other way before your workout. I'd also add creatine monohydrate since both of these supplements help with better performance and results. To make tracking easy, I added this shake mixture as a recipe in Cronometer. Since I use those same ingredients, once I set it up, it only takes a few clicks to track and see that I'm starting my day with 259 calories with 30 grams of protein. Since I start it with an extra 250 calories that I don't have on non-workout days, I aim to make the next 2 meals a little bit lower in calories in order to make up the difference. Now, if you do end up eating more on a workout day in order to fuel your workouts, that is perfectly okay. Just be sure to bring calories a little bit lower on non-workout days so you stay in a moderate calorie deficit when you look at your calorie average for the week. When it's time for second breakfast, this Monte Cristo breakfast bagel makes it easy to get another 42 grams of protein and only 335 calories. To make this quick meal, I start with a keto bagel thin, which only has 80 calories. If you prefer regular bagel thins, they only add an extra 20 calories, so either one works. First, I spray my bagel thin with some light cooking spray. Since a meal isn't a meal without garlic, I sprinkle on some garlic powder. Then I add it into my air fryer or toaster oven if you don't have an air fryer, and let that bagel crisp for just a few minutes. While it's crisping, I measure out 3 ounces of deli turkey and 1 ounce of cheese. I add half of the cheese and turkey to each slice so they don't overcrowd the bagel and fall off. If your calorie needs are lower than mine, definitely stick with the keto bagel thin and only use half an ounce of cheese since this saves 70 calories for the meal. To bring protein up even more, I also add an egg white thin on the side so that can crisp up while the cheese melts. If you're not sure what egg white thins are or how to make them, I'll include the video I made with instructions in the description. These egg white thins are a great way to add protein without overdoing calories, so you'll definitely want to watch that video next. Once everything is heated up and melted, I spread an ounce of raspberry jelly and enjoy. This already brings my daily protein up to 71 grams and only 594 calories. And the best part, I'm eating low-calorie meals without the nagging hunger that I felt on other diets with food that is absolutely delicious. If for some reason I do get hungry, a low-calorie coffee shake helps. For this coffee shake that only adds 24 calories, I mix in 1.5 ounces of coffee chameleon with 3 ounces of coconut milk and 4 ounces of water, plus a handful of ice and a few drops of stevia. Then I blend and enjoy. Around 1, I start getting hungry, which calls for one of my latest additions to my high protein meal plan, a chicken Parmesan wrap. To make this delicious wrap, I start by weighing out 5.5 ounces of this lightly breaded frozen Kirkland chicken I picked up at Costco. This is a delicious way to add protein since these nuggets taste similar to Chick-fil-A, but they are way more cost effective. Plus, one serving has 16 grams of protein and only 160 calories. If you don't love too many processed foods in your diet, you could also add grilled or baked chicken instead. As a bonus, this makes sticking to a high-protein, low-calorie plan even easier, since 5 ounces of grilled chicken adds another 17 grams of protein for just about the same amount of calories. To start this wrap, I cook the chicken nuggets in my air fryer according to the instructions. Since you want to weigh your portion sizes after cooking, I add about half an ounce more than I'd like to end up with on my wrap, since cooking these frozen removes some of the weight. As these cook, I layer 1 ounce of marinara sauce onto the tortilla, sprinkle on some garlic powder and oregano, followed by an ounce of cheese. If you have to eat lower calories, then you may want to consider cutting the cheese in half, which saves you 50 calories. I allow the cheese to melt as the chicken finishes cooking, then I chop the chicken into smaller pieces, add to the prepared tortilla, and enjoy this entire wrap for only 429 calories with 40 grams of protein. If I'm in the mood for a snack, I whip up this easy strawberry protein icy that I just added to my meal plan. If for some reason I'm not hungry for a snack, then sometimes I'll just save this for dessert instead. Either way, this is a great way to add even more protein in a large volume of food. Eating something that's low in calories but has a lot of volume is a great trick that makes your brain think that you're eating more food while you're in a calorie deficit. To make this bowl of deliciousness, add 4 ounces of milk, 1 scoop of protein powder, 4 ounces of frozen berries, and 4 ounces of ice into a large blender. Blend until the mixture is thick and fluffy. If your palate is used to very sweet foods, you can also add in a few drops of sweetener. But for most people, the fruit is sweet enough to crush any sweet cravings. The best part about this is you get to eat this entire bowl and it only costs 182 calories while adding another 21 grams of protein to your day. Since I still have another 770 calories to go and I only need 20 more grams of protein to hit my target, that leaves a lot of options for dinner. When I have a lot of calories to spend, I opt for something like this lasagna skillet. That way, I get to enjoy a larger portion without overdoing calories that day. To make this simple skillet, start by boiling 4 large lasagna noodles. You may need to break them in half in order to fit into your pot. As the noodles boil, brown the ground beef. Since we want to keep the calories low and the protein high, let's use 2 pounds of 93% lean ground beef. Spice the beef up with your favorite Italian seasoning as it browns. Of course, I add garlic, but I also sprinkle on some oregano, basil, and salt. Even though I know traditional lasagna doesn't have a lot of veggies, they are a great way to fill up on less calories. That's because they contain so many nutrients and so few calories in a large volume of food. So while my beef browns, I add in some chopped green peppers and onions. If you want to fill up even more on veggies, mushrooms and zucchini also make great additions. Once the beef is browned, drain any excess fat. Then cut the noodles into smaller pieces and add them into the beef mixture. This next step might have some lasagna lovers throwing tomatoes at me, but I only eat foods I like, so I don't waste calories on foods that I don't enjoy. So instead of adding ricotta cheese, because I don't love it, I add a full bag of mozzarella on top of the meat sauce. Then I let it cook on low while the flavors blend together and the cheese melts. If you do love ricotta, I'm guessing using only half of the bag of mozzarella and replacing the other half with ricotta works just as well. Let me know if you try this and how it turns out so I can tell the others. Since I have so many calories to spend on dinner, I'll measure a larger serving of 400 grams of this skillet, which adds 697 calories with another 57 grams of protein, which is another pro tip I almost forgot about. If you want to figure out the macros in a recipe like this, then add everything you added into your lasagna skillet into Cronometer and save it as a recipe. When it's time to figure out your portion size, you can weigh your serving size in grams, and Cronometer will give you a breakdown of your macros. Since I already know that this is a high protein meal, I just look at how many calories I can spend and then the protein falls into place. But I always log my meal before measuring it so I don't overeat in the moment and then regret it later. If your calorie goal isn't as hefty as mine, reduce your serving size to make high protein meals like this fit into your calorie budget. After eating this bowl of deliciousness, that brings me to a total of 1,925 calories for the day, which puts me under my 2,000 calorie goal. I also exceeded my protein, coming in close to 189 grams for the day. While I could eat another 75 calorie snack if I wanted to, if I feel full enough on less calories, then I'll just stop eating for the day. I usually don't eat 2,000 calories most days during the week, since this leaves a few hundred extra calories I can use to indulge with on the weekends. This is important since having more flexibility on weekends keeps my metabolism stronger while taking me out of that constant restriction, I am always on a diet mindset. But eating more protein and a moderate calorie deficit is only half the battle when it comes to a fat loss plan that gets results. If you really want to see your fat loss results skyrocket, you have to watch this video next. I'll show you the 3 simple habits I follow every day that help me lose 50 pounds while no longer struggling to keep it off.